Yesterday we saw we saw a different a city of a Yachid and the city of a Rabbin. Rashi explained that depending on you had 600,000 individuals in it or not. We said the city of a Rabbin cannot go ahead and make an Erev universally. They can make an Erev, but they still have to leave over something. Because what we're worried about is that city might become the city of a Yachid, make an Erev in the whole city, then become a Rabbin, we'll forget Tyrus Erev altogether. Mashenki, in the city of a Yachid, as long as it doesn't have a Rosh Hashanah inside of it, you can go ahead and take one box of matzah and make the whole city. We did see a chiddush yesterday in the Brisa that if the city of the Rabbin does not have a Rosh Hashanah going through it, meaning it's closed off at one end, then you would be able to make an Eva around the whole city. That's what we said yesterday. Again, you have Tesai and Amis, but it's not open on both ends. It's closed on one end. Then you would be able to make what an Erev around the whole city. So now we're posed with a very, very interesting shaila. We're up to Nun Tes Amid base, and we're about 8-10 lines up. Boy mine Rav Ami bar Ada Harpana made Rabba. Rav Ami bar Ada from Harpana said to Rabba, Sulam mikan upesach mikan. You have a sulam on one side. You have a sulam on one side. Here's our picture. So in other words, this is the city of a Rabbim. Over here, it's open and one-ended. It's closed at the other end. The question is, do you view the sulam as a Pesach, and therefore it'll be an open-ended city, and you won't be able to make an Erev without leaving over a part? Or do we say, no, the sulam is not viewed as a Pesach. It can be viewed as a Mechitza, and therefore what? You still can make an Erev around the whole city. That would be the Shaila. That would be the Shaila. Interesting Shaila. In other words, it doesn't go straight through, but you have the capacity to go through that side. So it's a lamdish shaila. Are you going through that side, right? Does it have to be easy access, or even if it's uneasy access, as long as it's possible to do, we'll view the city as what? As open-ended, and you won't be able to make an Erev around the whole city without leaving what? A part over, guys. You hear the shaila? Interesting shaila. Says the Gemara. Ma amalei hachi amarav sulam toiras pesach alav. He told him. So Rabbi told Rabbi Ami bar Ada. He told him that Rav held the sulam as a din of a pesach. So in that city, guys, we would not be able to go ahead and make an erev on the whole city without leaving over the part. Amal Rav Nachman lo tatzisile. Don't listen to him. Don't listen to Rabbi. Hachi Amar Rav Ada Amar Rav. Sulam Torres Pesach alav, the Torres Mechitza alav. Sometimes it's like a Pesach, and sometimes it's like a Mechitza. Torres Mechitza alav Kidam Moron. In the scenario we just saw on the computer, that picture, we're going to consider it a Mechitza. Therefore, we'll consider it a closed Rosh Hashanah. And since it's closed, you can make an Erev around the whole city without leaving anything on it. There are scenarios when it's a Pesach, which we'll introduce right now. And Torres Pesach love is sulam shebein shtei chatzeros. By a sulam that is between two chatzeros. A sulam between two chatzeros. Here you go. You have over here, you have two chatzeros. Now, the halacha is, guys, if you have a wall between two of them, each one, they can't make an Erev together because they're separate chatzerim. This one would have to make an Erev, and this one would have to make an Erev. If there was a Pesach between them, then they have a choice to go ahead and make separate Eruvim or a communal Erev. So if you view this latter as a Pesach, they're able to make a communal Erev. If you view it as a Mechitza, they would have to separate. So now you're telling me, Le'inyan, the case before Le'inyan, in this case, it's considered a Mechitza. And therefore, you can make an Erev around the whole city because you don't have Rosh Hashanah. But this is what Rav said. But over here, we'll consider it a Pesach. We'll consider it open-ended, and therefore what? It's possible to go ahead and make an Erev between the two of them because it's considered opening. So it's a hybrid. The Sulam is a hybrid depending. Says the Gemara, Torres Pesach, the Sulam shemein shechet seiros, as the Gemara continues, 2 lines from the bottom. Rotza echad ma'arev, If you want, they can go ahead and make separate Eruvim. They want, they can make a communal Eruv, because we'll consider the Sulam as if it's a Pesach and it's open to two sides. Guys, clear? Guys, good? Fred the Gemara, Umi Omer of Nachman Hachi. Does Rav Nachman really say this? Does Rav Nachman really say that it has a Torah's Mechitza L'Kula? Meaning, in the Rishus HaRabim, we view it as a Mechitza, and you can make an Eruv around the whole city? Do you really view it that way? I Rav Nachman Omer Shmuel. Let's give you the picture beforehand. Sometimes the picture beforehand makes it even easier to understand Hebrew words. We'll get back to that. Yeah, this is a people live up here and people live down here. People live up here, people live down here. Apparently, they would have to make an Eruv together, correct? They would have to make an Eruv together. If you view this as a mechitza, then they're two separate places. If you view it as a Pesach, then they'd have to make it together. You told me you view this as a mechitza, not a Pesach, correct? You told me you view the latter as a mechitza. That's why the city in the Rishus HaRabim, we said it's closed, because you don't view it as a Pesach. So you have the Pesach over here, and notice you have the doorway over here, exit stage right, in this case, right? Instead of exit stage left, we exit stage right. Good. Now,
well, isn't it a big nafkamina that the other case with the city there was mamash a wall, and the only way out was with that merpeset? Over here, you have it's sort of open.
Where's it open?
I don't know what else. I don't know what other way there is to come down.
This little thing is going to be all the difference in the world. But right now, we have a very good question. If you're telling me that this is a mechitza, then they should never be able to make an Eruv together, correct? Because they're two separate places. Says the Gemara. Fred the Gemara, Umi Amar Rav Nachman Hachi, that is the din of a mechitza. Rav Nachman Amar Shmuel, Anshe Chotzer, Anshe Merpeset. People live in the Chotzer. People live in the Merpeset. Sheshakhu, they forgot. V'lo Yervu, and they didn't make an Eruv together. Im Yesh Lefneim Daka. If there's a place to go out over here, they made a little Daka we saw yesterday. Then Arba. In Yesh Lefneim Daka, Arba. If you have a Daka that's 4 Tfachim, I guess, Eina Oiseres. Arba is Tfachim, right? Is Arba Eina Oiseres. It doesn't ask them. Why? Because since they can go out this way, they don't have Drisas Regel over here. In other words, remember, the reason they should usher is because if this is the only way out, correct, their bilus, their ownership over this chutzner, if they don't make an Eruv, would stop them. However, over here, they go over here, down here, and exit stage right, so they have a way out. They're not meshubit to the chutzner, and therefore, if they didn't make it, they would be able to carry. Bim lav. However, if not, if there's no daka, the daka would be usher. But 1 second, you told me it's a mechitza. It's a mechitza. Why does it usher? You see, guys, it's a Pesach. And who said this? Rav Nachman said it. So we have a kasha. Over here, you're telling me it's a Pesach, whereas by the city, you told me it's a mechitza. How do you reconcile the two? Guys, good? Any questions? Good, you had a kasha? By the picture, again, where you had Rishus HaRabim going through, and at the other end of the Rishus HaRabim, here we said it's a mechitza. We don't say it's a Pesach. On the other hand, over here, we're saying it's mamash a Pesach. And Rav Nachman is the one who said both of them. That's the kasha. We're speaking where the merpeset is not, the reason why it's not a mechitza is because it's a very short merpeset, guys. In other words, the reason why it's not a mechitza because it lacks the height of a mechitza. A mechitza's got to be 10 tefachim high. Since it's not 10 tefachim high, really a ladder, guys, is a mechitza. Since it's not 10 tefachim high, therefore, you see, it's not 10, it's a very small ladder, it's not 10 tefachim high, therefore therefore it's a Pesach, and you need the daka. On the other hand, if the daka was high, then it would be considered a mechitza, and you wouldn't have to go, you wouldn't have to make an Eruv together. You wouldn't stop you from the guys in the chutzner from carrying. Says the Gemara, Eloi gevoyer mepesed asara kika of a daka in my have. So guys, you're telling me that it's not 10. So if it's not 10, they're considered, right? It's considered open, one big area, right? So why would it help then to go ahead and make a daka? Let's forget this for a second. Let's go to this picture. Make believe it's not 10 tefachim. Make believe it's 10 tefachim high. Less than 10. So how does this help you? If it's less than 10, this is considered being on the ground. So this doesn't help you. This only helps is that you don't have to go, we have rights to go out over here, right? And therefore, we don't have Drisas Regal over here, so therefore you will be able to carry if we fail to make an Erev together. But if you're telling me now this is within 10 Tefachim, if you're telling me now this is within 10 Tefachim, right? It's in the same area, it's open totally to that area, so how's it going to help? Says Rashi, Ki daka lefanecha mai have, hare kol hamerpeset svivasecha nemucha. The whole merpeset around it is what? Is low. Upsucha lechatzer. Hare hen kishtei chatzeros she'en kaisel b'neihem. It would be like two chatzerim without a wall in between. Why do we say that halacha was two chatzerim without a wall in between, guys? We said that they have to make a chatz, they have to make an erev together. So how would this help? This is helping. This area is helping that if we forget and we don't make an erev, then this guy can come over here. Fred the Gemara, if you tell me it's so short that what? That it's open, this doesn't help at all. Because it's like two chatzerim together without a koisel between them. And for the Gemara, what are we speaking about? It's got a gifufi. Says the Gemara, gifufi. So the only way out, guys, is this way. Since the only way out is this way, therefore it's a good. If they forget, then they will be able to carry it. What this gifufi does, Rashi says, Mekufefes, Mekefes mechitza saviv, el shenisha lefanel yud amis, kidin pesach b'lei hekef. It has a din of 10 amis. This area is an area of 10 amis. Okay? So therefore, the avid hasam daka solak nafshayu. In other words, if they make this, he's removing themselves. They're saying, we're not going out this way. We're going out this way. Since we're not going out this way, we have no bilus in the chutzner. And therefore, if we forget to make an erev together, we're okay. This is the okimta of the Gemara. Kika avedaka my have, and for the Gemara, gufefes. Speaking where gufefes, you have a wall at eseramis up to eseramis. The kimin the avedaka, since they make this daka, this opening over here, is taluke istalakle mechacha. They're leaving their rights in the chutzner. So if you forget to make an erev together, therefore it would work. Okay, this thing is side that we constantly repeat itself. Again, the idea of that, if you, in the erev chatzeris, every guy on this screen, if we all live together in a cul-de-sac, and if one of us does not go ahead and be part of the erev, that's it. Your bias goes ahead and messes it up. It's because you have rights there. This whole shaila is predicated upon the rights of the people, the Bnei Merpeset, to go in the chutzner. What they're doing, accomplishing by having the door outside, I guess the word is relinquishing. They're relinquishing their rights by having that little opening over there. And therefore, there's no bilus in the chutzner. So if we forget to make it, then the Bnei Chutz can carry, because their bilus of Bnei Merpeset is not ma'akev. The shaila was, if it's low 10, in order to avoid the stira in Rav Nachman, who said by the Rishus HaRabim was a mechitza, and here it's an opening, right? If it's open the whole way, it's less than 10, so l'chayre it's like two chatzerim without anything in the middle, and you have to make it together. So what do? We put a wall there, made it go out this way, and therefore, since we made the wall there and have to go out this way, we relinquished our rights, and therefore we don't have to make an erev together. That's the Gemara. That's the Gemara. I think it's pretty clear. Says the Gemara Vaita. Amar Rabbi Shmuel. Koisel sherit sofa b'sulamais. You have a koisel, and what do? I told you we'd get back to this. As soon as I get this over here. Right? Here you have it. Now, even if this is 10 amis, you'd say that it's a pirza, right? Guys, you'd say if it's 10 amis, it has a din of an opening. So if it has a pirza, they would have to make an erev together, correct? This is the rule I just told you. If these guys, there's a hole there, a pirza, they'd have to make an erev together. So the question is, over here, do they have to make an Erev together? Says the Gemara, Some Rabbi Yehuda Mishmuel, Kaisel Sherit Safa B'Sulamais, a kaisel that is literally floored with ladders, Afilu B'Yesem Yesa, even if it's more than Eser Amos, which you know by now is considered a Pirza, considered a broken opening. Torah's Mechitza Alav, guys. And you know what that means? Torah's Mechitza Alav, that they don't have to make an Erev together. Torah's Mechitza Alav, it can be separate. They don't have to make an Erev together. Torah's Mechitza Alav, and we don't view it as they have to make it together. In other words, you do have both choices. Look at Rashi says you have both choices. It says, in other words, we don't say this is a chumrah that it's a mechitza that they can't. We say it's a kula that it's a mechitza that they don't have to. Both studim, guys, get this clear. If this is opening, they have to make a mechitza together. If this is closed, they can't make a mechitza together. This is a hybrid. We're going to view both kulas. We're going to view it as a mechitza they can make separate. We're going to view it as a pesach that if they want, they can make it together. Got it? Both sides. We're playing both sides of the coin. Okay. Rami le Rav Baruna le Rav Yehuda b'Matzarta debei b'Matzarta debei Rav Chanan. They're busy with the wine press. The second time is the Masechta. He asked them by the wine press. Again, they're in the mood. Mi Omar Shmuel Toras Mechitza Alav. Does Shmuel say that as a Toras Mechitza and it's considered separate? The ulam, the sulam, the ladder. V'Omer Rav Nachman Omar Shmuel Anshe Merpeset v'Anshe Chatzer. This is the case we had above. Sheshakchu v'Loi Irvu Im Yesh Lefaneha Daka Arba Einoi Seres V'Mavai Seres. Guys, why would it be Aser? Because it's considered a Pesach. Again, this is the case. We're looking back at the same pictures over and over again, right? We're looking back at the same pictures over and over again. Let me just move you over here. Works better for me. This case. In this case, he says in this case, if they forgot to make it without this wall over here, it's usher. But one second, you told me it's a mechitza. If it's a mechitza, it shouldn't be usher. If it's a mechitza, they'd have to make it separately, and they'd have to make it separately. Elid, they consider it a pesach. Kasha. The Shmuel, it's the same kasha we asked of Nachman. The Shmuel hold it's a mechitza, or the Shmuel hold the sulam is a pesach. How does he view it? Hachamay on first wide line. The loygavu merpeset asara, the same parrots. It's not 10 high. Since it's not 10 high, it can't be a mechitza. Really, it is a mechitza. Since it's not 10 high, it can't be a mechitza. Says the Gemara the same question. It's considered open as you should have to make what you should have to make an erev together. It should be like a total open tuchat seirim that are open to each other. And the Gemara, the same parrots didn't go fefes. It's speaking where it has that wall in front of it. On Eser Amos, the Kivin Davidaka, since he makes the exit stage right, that little wall is taluki estalek mihacha. Okay, and we're going to bring in a case that is very, very. It's just a very funny case, but it has to do with what we're talking about. You have a city that was a city of a rabbin, and it became the city of a yachid. Correct? The city of a rabbin that became a city of a yachid. The halacha is you had to leave over something. So this is halacha l'maisa. This was a city that was of a rabbin. It was a city of a rabbin that became the city of a yachid. And we said that you can't go ahead and make an erev around the whole city if you have a rishus rabbin there. You'd have to go ahead and leave over something. So here's what happened. Hanu b'nei kankunoi. This is the name of the place. Kankunoi. The Oslo came to Rabbi Yosef. They came in front of Rabbi Yosef, and Amullah, they told Rabbi Yosef, Hav lanu gavra, give us a person, the la'avron lon masan, who will go ahead and make an erev around that city. They wanted to know, again, it was a city that was a city of a rabbin that became the city of a yachid. They wanted to know what to do. So Amullah la'abaya, So Rabbi Yosef told his trusty Talmud Abaya, Zil Orev Lahu. Go, right? Go make an eruv for them. However, there's one provider. Make sure they don't come and start screaming in the base medrash. In other words, whatever you're going to do, I don't want to hear from them again, right? Whatever you're going to do, that's it. I don't want to hear from them again. I don't need them screaming or anything. Whatever you can do, you just do it. Okay. So listen, this is, guys, let me give you the formula. Abai is going to come to the town and he's going to see the following. Abai is going to come to the town and he's going to see the following. He's going to see this town, and these guys, they're not even part of the town. They're 3 chatzerim. They got openings over there, right? 1, 2, 3. We said you got 3 and 2. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to leave these guys over. I'm going to leave this as the share. And then we'll be able to go ahead and make an eruv around the rest of the city. That was Abaya's hachlata. Now, Abaya is now going to have this dialogue within himself. Why? Yes, no, yes, maybe, no, yes, and finally conclude that Eino Chinami, he can leave those houses as the share, as the remnant, and go ahead and make an eruv around the rest of the city. But he's going to go through a few, again, different studim. Why yes, why not, why yes, why not? And then he's going to come back and say, now I understood what Rabbi Yosef said, that we shouldn't have any problems. Okay? Guys, that's the setup. That's the setup. So let's see it inside. So now, he comes to the city, he comes to Kankunoi, he comes to this place, and he says that what? Azal Chaza Lahanu Bote, he saw those houses, the Psichli Nahara, they opened to the river. Right, Malibu, right? They opened to the river, and they didn't open to the rest of the town. So Hani Lahave Shiur Lamasa, these should be the leftover of the city that we can make an eruv around the city. And guys, Lemaskana, we're going to come back to this, okay? Lemaskana, we're going to come back and say, you're right. It's good. It is, this taka is the share of the city. But look how long it takes to get there. Then Abaye said, well, 1 second. It says, Ein Ma'arvenes Kula, a city that was of a rabbin, and it became a yachid, Ein Ma'arvenes Kula, and listen to the diak that Abaye made. Tanan, Michlal, the Iboy La Ruve Matzi Ma'arve. It says, you can't make an eruv over the whole city. Mashma, if you wanted to, you could. But these guys don't have a shaykhis to the rest of the city. Their chutzner is facing the river. So I can't leave these people over because they don't fit into the diak of the Mishnah. The Mishnah says, it's mashma that you can't make an eruv in every place in the city. Mashma, if you wanted to, if you could, you would. But these you couldn't. So I can't use these as the remnant because they don't have shaykhis to the rest of the city vis-a-vis making an eruv. I tell you what, I'm going to start making, I'll do a little construction. If there's such a thing as little construction, I'll do a little construction. I'll make windows in the back of those houses. Now they face the city, and then I'll make them the remnant. And now they'll fit into the diak of the Mishnah. You can't make an eruv, but if you want to, you could, because you have these windows. So that's what Abaye said. Because if I wanted, I can go ahead and make an eruv through the windows. Guys, you following along? Next. Hadarama, what does he say? Loi. Loi. Amalei, because boy, it still could be a share. Lord boy, I don't need to make windows. Why? The harabar avua ma'ariv lo lekula mechusa arsaisa mishimperi de beituri. We had this earlier in the Masechta. Let me see if I don't even know if we have a picture of this. We might. Or he may send me back. If he sends me back, I'm not going back, guys. It's all the way. It's in the
It says paired base, Tzia 139.
Forget that. I ain't going back there. I'll show it to you. I'll show it to you over here. Okay. You had these two pits in the middle of the city, and he made an Eruv around the whole city. Okay, you see that? He made an Eruv around the walls around the city. You had these two pits there. Okay, now Rashi does it for you also. If you look on the side, Rashi has it over here also. Those are called piri de Torah. They would keep the pits that the bait pits they would use for animal fodder. They would keep it over there. Okay. So again, you're looking at the picture over here. He said, I can go ahead and use this and make windows. No, I don't have to make windows. Now he's saying, 1 second. I don't have to make windows. Why? Because Rabbi Avur went ahead. He made an Eruv around the whole town of Mechuzah. Mishum Peir de Beiture. The Chol Chad V'Chad Hamzir de Beiture. In other words, each one, how could he do that? Guys, you can't make an Eruv in this city because of these pits. You can't make an Eruv because these pits are going to stop you. Good? Yet, each one of the houses over here were able to make a separate mavoi. Why? Because each one was considered a shear for the other one. That's my leftover. So I make a mavoi. It's a city of a rabbin that became yachid. What's my leftover? The other mavoi. So Memela over here as well. I won't have to go ahead, guys, and make this. I won't have to go ahead and make this because you see, you don't have to be able to make an Eruv because they couldn't make an Eruv because of those pits. Says the Gemara. Hilkach na'a. Therefore, iboil ruvi derech. And for the Gemara, loy dami hadarami said it's not comparable. Because why? I skipped. The afagav di iboil aruve bahadi adodi. Even though in the picture with the pits, they couldn't make an Eruv together because of the pits, like Matzima Arve. So two over here, guys, I won't have to make windows because we see the fact that I can't make an Eruv is okay. I see it from the case of the pits. I couldn't make an Eruv over there, yet the other places were considered a share. So too over here, even though I can't make an Eruv with this, it's considered a share, a remnant for the rest of the city. So again, Abai is vacillating back and forth. So right now he's holding at this point, guess what? I can use this as my remnant, my shear, without making the little construction windows like this. Hadrama no, loidami. This case is not similar to the case of the pits of the oxen. Hasami boiler ruve derech gagos. Over there, in this case, if they wanted to make an Eruv, they could have gone over through the walls. They could have gone on top. So they could have made an Eruv. Mashenkin over here, with this place, they can't make an Eruv. And therefore, I'm lost. The only thing I can do is make these windows. Says the Gemara, Hadarama, no. Hadarama, Kavi Namilei boy. I don't have to make what? Windows. Dahu Beitivna. There was this house of flax. Havle Lamar bar Pupidisa, mi Pumpadisa, Lamar bar Pupidasa. Say that quickly. Mar bar Pupidasa, mi Pumpadisa, right? Vishab Yashir le Pumpadisa. And even though they couldn't make an Eruv because it was a house of straw, nonetheless, it was considered a share. And now, so I finally came to my conclusion, guys. This, in fact, is a good share. It's a good leftover, and I don't have to make windows, and therefore I can conclude the following. And that's what Rabbi Yosef told me. See that they won't scream at me at the base medrash for them making construction that was totally unnecessary. How was that? You saw what I did? Back and forth, but you end up where you started.
That's good.
This is the remnant of the city. Because why? Because Abaya's diak is not a true diak. His diak was, everyone has to have the capacity to make an Eruv. But you see, it's not true. Because a base Teven, a house of straw, you don't have to make what? An Eruv there. So you see, the diak that I made is not true. Once that diak is not true, these guys who are facing the river, I don't have to make holes in the window in order to make the Eruv. Because I don't have to make the Eruv. And therefore, it can be a share. It can be what? A very good remnant. It can be left over. That's the key. I'd have to make the windows. If you hold, you have to make an Erev. If I hold, I don't have to make an Erev. In other words, have the capacity to make an Erev, then you don't need the windows, and that's the conclusion of Abaya. We said Elam Kain Asa Chutzla Kir Chadasha. We said that a city that's of a rabbin that became a yachid, you have to leave over something. We said like the city of Chadasha. Tanya Rabbi Yehuda Irachas Vaisa Yehuda. The Chadasha Shmo. Its name was Chadasha. V'Hayabad Nun Diurim. It had 50 people living there. Anashim Nashim Ataf, men, women, and children. And that was the city that Chachamim used as the share is considered a city. This is what's considered a city that you'd have to make an Erev. Does Chadasha itself have to, if it makes an Erev, that they have to be over something? What are you talking about? Just like it is the remnant of the Gedailah, obviously the Gedailah is the remnant of it, and therefore, of course, they don't have to leave over anything. They just make an Erev, it's fine. Ela Kain Chadasha. If it's Kain Chadasha, in other words, if it's a city of a rabbin, and now it's what? It only has, once upon a time it was a rabbin, and now it has 50 people. Do you have to leave over something or not? So Rav Huna, Rav Yehuda, Chadam a boy share. One says you need a share, but Chadam a loy boy share. Guys, if you have a small town that was only 50 people, of course you don't have to leave over anything. The Tosfos of Rush learns, Pshat is over here, once upon a time, this share was connected to a city that was of a rabbin. In that scenario, you want to know, if you took away the rabbin part, do you have to go ahead and make a share? And now we have Machlokas Amarayim, whether you have to make a share or not, whether you have to leave over or not. He disagrees with Rabbi Yehuda. He says you don't need 50 people. He says you need 3 chatzerim of 2 houses apiece. Amrav Cham Bar Gurya Amarav Halacha Kireb Shimon. The halacha is like Reb Shimon. You don't need 50 people. You just need 6 houses. Again, it was meduyik in the picture over here, right? It was meduyik, guys. You know, when the guy who drew this guy's a big line. He knows Eruvin Kol. Notice. What do you see over here? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. He's leaving over, and each one he's making sure that you're leaving over that amount. Okay. He didn't just stam a picture. He drew b'diyuk. Even one house and one chutzah. Chutzah achas al kevaitach, a chutzah without a house. You don't need 3 to 2. 1 to 1 would do the job. Amalei Abayla Rabbi Yosef, Chod Rabbi Yitzchak. Now Rabbi Yitzchak can't argue with Rabbi Shimon, guys. So Rabbi Yitzchak's an Amoira. He can't argue with Rabbi Shimon. So that Rabbi Yitzchak said, Gemara. Does he have a Mitzvah on that, or Sfara, or is it his own Sfara? So Amalei, my Naflamina, who cares? Amalei, Gemara is the Miras. Hey, if it's a Gemara, it should be what? Songs? In other words, we have to know exactly what's going on. Let's see Tosfos here. It says Tosfos, Gemara, Shahoya le Kabbalah Mishum Tana. Did he have a Kabbalah that 1-to-1 does the job? In other words, he's an Amoira. Did he have a Kabbalah from a Tana that would give him a right to argue on Rav Shimon? So if it's a Gemara, that means he had a Messiah, so he has some strong backing. He has a Tana that can back him up. So 1-to-1, maybe we'll disagree with the 3-to-2. Oisvara, meaning nothing to do with a Tana. Shem is Svara Hayaymer. Shekach Nira. Afapish ain't Shum Tana Sayvakim. Even though one holds like that, it appears to him 1-to-1 would make sense. The light lives like halacha, he can't possibly go ahead and say he's come to paskan halacha. It seemed to him that way, but clearly the halacha is not like that. They said to him, he said, so who cares? And that he said, nonetheless, even though we got a psak, we should know whether what it's an amar or a tana that argues, and we leave it. Good. Okay, next Mishnah. Let's see what pictures here galore. Okay, he's in the Mizrach. He's over here. It's Erev Shabbos. He tells his son to make an Erev to the west. So he's 2,000 amos away from his house. He's 3,000 amos away from his Erev. The halacha is his house is his Erev. Since Bein Hashmashos, guys, he couldn't reach to here because it was beyond his tchum. We say that what? He can only go to here. Got it? Again, his Erev is not over here, his Erev is over here. Now, he'll be able to get to here because he's going to get 2,000 amas from his house, right? He's going to get 2,000 amas from his house. But since he couldn't get here Bein Hashmashos, it was out of his realm, it was out of 2,000 amas, therefore what? It's not a good Erev, right? So, says the Mishnah, Misha Haya b'Mizrach, V'amal l'benoi, Orav li b'Ma'ariv, or the opposite, b'Ma'ariv, and V'amal l'benoi, Orav li b'Mizrach, Im yesh himenu l'beisai al payim amo, if there's from him to his house al payim amo, Ule ruvo yoysa mikan, and his Erev is more than that in the picture, guys. His Erev is 3,000 amis. Mutter l'beisai, he's mutter to go to his house, the asal eruvoi, and he's also to go what? To his Erev. Okay, let me ask you a lumda shakasha.
But Laser, didn't you say that he can, once he gets to his house, he can go to the Erev?
But he won't be able to get 2,000 amas from that Erev. The only reason is because it's within his 2,000 from his house.
Okay.
But he wouldn't get from there. Guys, Shimon, listen to the Shaila. Shimon, we said if a guy is outside and he says, I want to go to a tree, right? I want to go to a tree. And he's more than 2,000 amas away. In other words, he doesn't give a spot on the tree, right? He doesn't give a spot. So what did Rav say? He has nothing. He was oike his Erev from where he was. He didn't designate underneath the tree because he didn't say underneath the trunk, underneath the branch. And we said he lost everything. He not only didn't get under the tree, he doesn't even have 2,000 amas from his standing. Layosizim Komo. He's stuck there within Dalan amas for Shabbos. Over here, he's saying, I want my Erev to be where his son put it, 3,000. And you're telling me, no, he's not stuck. You mean he gets to his house. What's the difference over here where he gets to his house as opposed to there where he's stuck, he can't move at all? You hear the kasha. You hear the kasha, guys? I mean, it's the exact same case. Says Rashi, in that case before, he didn't have any shvisa. My chavrusa went through this with me. In that case before, he had no shvisa whatsoever. The only shvisa he had is where he's standing. He gave that away when he said, I want to be underneath the tree. But since he didn't give a specific spot underneath the tree, he didn't get anything there over here. Masha Enkain, here, he can get to his house. His house is there. He says, I want the Erev over there. But since he's within the realm of his house, why do we say he means? I want it over there by the 3,000. But if I can't get there, I'm not giving up my house. That's the difference in the cases. Because since he's within the jurisdiction of his house, we don't say he's giving that up. And therefore, the long Rashi in the bottom, he gives this teretz to the kasha. Very, very nice teretz. Okay? So that's the first case of the Mishnah. Next. The opposite. Let's say le'eruvay al payim amma. Let's say to his Erev, guys, he has 2,000 amas. To his Erev, Vitaka has 2,000 amas. Here you go. Here's the picture, right? The next picture. To his Erev, here he is. To his Erev, he has 2,000 amas. To his house, he has 3,000 amas. Good. So the same halacha applies. Ulebesai yesamikan also lebesai. It will be awesome to go to his house. Umutalei vuruvai, but he'd be able to go to his erev. Guys, good. Hanoisen es eruvai beiburish shel er. If someone puts his erev, here's the next picture, in the 72/3 of the city, leyosav leklum. Fellas, where do we start counting the tchum from? This picture. We start from, look at the picture. We start from the dotted line. So he puts his Erev over here in a house there. He gained nothing. He had this in the first place. You hear this? He had this in the first place. So if he puts his Erev here, he gains nothing. Because really his Tchum starts from here. Nasnu chutz l'tchum, afilu ama achas. Now here, guys, chutz l'tchum here doesn't mean outside 2,000. It means outside over here, 1,000. He puts it right over there. Let's say even he puts it outside the tchum that he has. Afilu ama achas, ma she nischar hu mafsid. Whatever he gained, he lost. We've been speaking about this very, very often. When Erev Chatzeris doesn't mean you get more area, it means you're readjusting your area, correct? You're going to get more to the, in this scenario, guys, this is the east. Like, and the pig, again, to you might be the west. To me, it's the east, right? So over here, whenever you gain in this direction, you lose in this direction. So watch. The city is considered like 4 amis. You put your Erev over here, right? You get 2,000 over here, but you lost 1,000 in this direction. 4 amis here and 996 over here. So whatever you gain over here, you lose over there. Good? Whatever you gain over there, you lose over there. Now we're going to see about this Chavtal and Amis when if you put your Erev over here, let's say you end up back in the city, we're going to see different Chalukei Deis and what's going on over there. Okay. Says the Gemara. Kasal Kedaitach leMizrach. Kasal Kedaitach, when he said, go to the Mizrach, what did he say? LeMizrach Beisai. He's saying to go to the east. Put the Erev, the Mizrach Beisai. That he's standing Mizrach Beisai. L'mayrav means L'mayrav Beisai. Now Bishlema Himeno Ula Beisai Al Payamama. Very good for his house to his Beisai to his house is 2,000 amis. Ule Ruva Yesemi Mishkachasla. The Mati LeBeisav Le Mati Le Ruvai. I'm standing at the 50-yard line. My house is at the 30, and the Erev is at the 10. So you get to my. It's possible that the Erev is farther away than the house. Good. How's it possible for the house to be farther away than the Erev? If that's the scenario I just drew, I'm at the 50, my house is the 30, and the Erev is at the 10. How's it possible you not to get to what? To your house, to the Erev before you get to the house? The house is before the Erev. What's the mitzias of the case, guys? I think the analogy is very good, right? It's too bad Penny's not here to hear it. Shimon, you'll tell Penny the analogy. You go 50, 30, 10. So in other words, if I'm at the 50, my house is at 10, my house is at the 30, the Erev is at the 10. Makes sense. I can get to my house before the Erev. But the second case of the Mishnah was what? The second case of the Mishnah was where you're getting to the Erev before your house. How's that possible? The Erev is at the 10-yard line. You're at the 30. Says the Gemara, you're right. Bishlema himenu lebeisel paimamo leiruva yesemi kaimish kachasel demati lebeisel lemati leiruva. Eli himenu leiruva el paimamo lebeisel yesemi kan hekimish kachasel. How is it possible for you to get to Erev before your house? Amr Yitzchak, Nisabas Mizrach Beisai? No. L'mayrav Beisai? No. Why? Mizrach means Mizrach Benoy. It's to the east of the sun. Well, L'mayrav Benoy. It's not. You're not at the 50. You are to the east of your sun, wherever your sun is. So your sun is possible to put the Erev farther than your house. It's possible to put the Erev before the house, right? No problem, guys. You're not at the 50. And your house is the 30. Your sun is wherever he is. You're to the east of the sun, the west of the sun. He can either put the Erev beyond your house or before the house. So both scenarios are possible. Rava Barav Shila Amar, Afilu Tema Lemizrach Beisai, Ulamarav Marav Beisai. However, Kigoin the Kabesa Belachsaina. You know what we're speaking about, guys? This. Here you are. Here's your Erev to the west. Here's your house. So you can get to your Erev. You can't get to your house. Your house is 2,200. This is 2,000. So it's possible for you to be standing in the Mizrach and forget the football analogy, unless You want to go, this is across this side of the field, and this is for the end zone, whatever. But in other words, you're going different directions. So now it's possible, look, I can get to my Erev, I can't get to my house. So therefore, the halacha will be, this is where I'm going to shvisa, and I'm not going to shvisa over here. And therefore, it can be, you're standing Musach Beisai, Lamarav Beisai, and that makes sense. Good?
Rabbi, back to that picture for a second.
Yeah.
Well, based on what we said with the balach sign, so if he starts moving towards the Erev, towards that challah, and then he goes on a straight line, straight up, he's less than 2,000 away.
What are you
Right?
talking about?
That line balach sign, it says what, 2,200 there? What does it say?
Okay, you can redo it any which way you want.
Okay, so if he starts walking towards his challah and stops when he's opposite the door of his house, that's pashtus going to be 2,000 or less than 2,000.
It doesn't mean he can't get to his house, Chaim. It means he can't, his shvisas, he can't count 2,000 from his house. Chaim, he can get home. In this scenario over here, I said this before, in this scenario over here, look, he's going to be able to get home. Why? Look, 2,000 over here, he'll be able to go here, but as I told Steve, his Erev won't be from here. He'll be able to get home, but he won't be able to get to his Erev. He'll be able to get there because it's within his Tchum, but not because he's kind of Shvisa there. Chaim, you got it? I lost you. Where are you?
Yeah, good.
You good? Guys, everyone's good?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So now we said, chutz l'tchum, you lose it. Says the Gemara, ma sheniskra hamafsid. Ma sheniskra v'suloi. You mean all he loses is that one amma? For Tanya, hanoisin eseruba b'seichi bura shel ir, le'yasav le'klum. Okay, very good. If you put your Erev in the 72/3 a house, which is in the 72/3 of the city, you lose nothing because you had that anyway. However, chutz le'ibure shel ir, afilu ama achas mistakro esoy ama umafsid es kol ir kula. You can lose the whole city. Okay, so in other words, we hold like this. We have a stira now. You're putting this over here. Over here. Now, the Havamina is, well, it's like one amma away from here, so I'm going to lose one amma over here, right? It's not true. You're going to lose the whole thing over here. You're going to, because you're not going to have the city as 4 ammas. The city is so large that your tchum is going to end up in the middle of the city. If my tchum ends up in the middle of the city, I won't treat the city as dalet amis. If my tchum ends up right on the other side of the city, I might, of course, then I'll count it as 4 amis and go weiter. But it could be if you put your tchum over here, chutz tchum, and now you count back 2,000 and it ends up in the city, then you won't count the city as 4 amis. So that's the stira minei ubei. Says the Gemara the stira. Loi kasha, kansha kol semidasei b'chatzi ir. If your Erev ends up in the middle of the city, you taka lost the city, the 4 amas of the city, and you won't get that. Kan shekol semidasei b'soifa ir. The 2,000 will be at the end of the city. Since it's the end of the city, we're going to count it as 4 amas. That was the picture we just saw. Uchad Rav Idi, Dam Rav Idi, Am Rav Yeshua ben Levi, Hayemoidei ubav v'kol semidasei b'chatzia ir. If you're going along and you're counting v'kol semidasei b'chatzia ir, and it ends up in the middle of the city, ein lo ela chatzia ir. All you're going to get is half the city. You're not going to count it as 4 amas and start on the other side. Kol semidasei b'seif ir nasas lo ir kula kedalet amas umashlimin lo yasashar. So again, a tremendous nafkamina over here, guys. If you end up over here, counting back from your 2,000 over here, because I'm going to lose this. I'm going to lose the whole city because I would count from here. If the 2,000 ends up over here, I may put my Erev over here, and I lose over here, but I only lost. I'll be over here. Then I count the city as 4 amas. So depending where you lose, that's where you're going to count. Amar Avidi, Ein Elu El Divrei Nevias. Mali Kolsa B'Chatzir, Mali Kolsa B'Seifir, it doesn't make a difference. No, this should make a difference. So even Manashach, you're either going to count it as 4 Amis or not as 4 Amis. Amar Rabbi, Travayu Tanino. Both of these we learned, and Bez Hashem will pick it up here tomorrow. Now, Shiloh is like this, guys. Did it work for you last week when I without making a time and you viewed it on the view? What should we call that a time for share? It's a busy day for everybody. I don't want to be matriach people. So like this, I can make it. Steve will post it. You can watch whatever you want, or we can learn at 3:30, let's say. But again, I don't want to be mashubit people. For me personally, it's probably better to make the tape, simply because it just gives me flexibility.
We can make a separate tape of the jokes and interruptions if you want.
We didn't have any interruptions. Where were the jokes and interruptions? I didn't have one joke or interruption tonight.
The outtake.
How about that one?
Rabbi, it's a Shana Rabbi. We're a little serious tonight,
Oh, it's very serious. Yes.
Yeah, not in this
He
year.
should make his own tape.
Steve, the outtake, Steve.
Right. We all have to get the Mishnah Torah now.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so Bez Hashem, I'll make the tape and post it, and then I guess we'll learn Mitzvah Yantif, 9:30 to everybody.
You can tell our age because we say we can make a tape, and that's what I would say also.
Make a tape.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I would say.
Let me know when you did it, Rabbi.
Video. Just say
Okay.
video.
We wish everybody a safe.
Nobody
Piskatava.
makes tapes anymore.
I get Fittel, I get Yar.
Good Vittel and Benji Mazel Tov. B'Shar Tov Mitzlachas.
Yeah, Mazel Tov to Benji on upcoming tip-off.
Boy, hopefully Mo's not drinking.
Oh, listen, Yitzi, I can't believe we're still taping this. Steve,